Alrighty, so the votes are in. And man, it was a fucking close one. Apparently you guys want a vampire. So fuck it. We're going to do a vampire. And we're going to do the saint of all vampires, Umah. So, here we go. Let us begin. Let's talk about the one character who's only in one video game. Hell yeah. Now, as I stated before, people do not like Blood Omen 2. I like Blood Omen 2. But the reason why I like it is different than the reason why a lot of people like it. I like it because to me it makes sense. It's like, oh my god, all these lore inaccuracies, like Vorador's resurrected some fucking how. Janos, Audrin, Vorador, and Kane are all in the same room together. Like, oh my god, this is all lore inaccurate. I get it. I get it why people don't like it. But you have to remember, Kane just butchered the time stream. He just butchers the timeline. He doesn't know what effects he is having on the world. He's not like Mobius who can plan things ahead. He's just a one-dimensional person butchering the time and just seeing what happens. So, of course, timeline is shuffling. It's trying its best to reshuffle the best it can. But now it's getting all fucked up. Time is just getting destroyed. So now you have this inconsistency. Vorador is alive. He's creating vampires for Kane. Because why the hell not? So we end up with this character, Umah. Umah is a really interesting perspective. Really interesting unique character because she takes a lot from her father, sire, Vorador. They're not a mother-daughter, but he did create her. So, the thing with her is that she's actually not part of Kane's army. So when Kane set about with his army led by Vorador's creations, he came across Meridian and got his ass kicked. Then he was put into a coma for 200 years. It's quite a while. But while he was in the coma, sometime within those 200 years, Vorador infiltrated Meridian and established the Cabal. The Cabal is a secret organization of vampires inside this anti-vampire Sarafan kingdom. Now, Umah is his best and most talented agent. She was the one responsible for directly supervising Kane. She also has a lot of human contacts for some reason. She has a lot of contacts that are all human. So it's very interesting to see her because it seems like she's really the backbone of the Foundation. Like all the other vampires in the Cabal are absolutely useless. They are just absolute shit. They don't really seem to do anything. Maybe one or two of them knows a thing or two, but really it's Umah who has all the spies, all the human connections, and she openly has these human connections by offering them a chance to become a vampire like herself. And for humans, this is a good, tempting offer. It's like, hell yeah, immortality? Fucking sign me up. Now, what's interesting about Umah and why I call her a saint is that the very moment we meet her in Blood Omen 2, the moment Kane wakes up, she is immediately influencing us with her moral belief system. She's very moral for a vampire, which is very odd. Usually when we see vampires in Legacy of Kain universe, they usually don't really care too much about humanity. They usually don't care too much about their past human selves. In fact, any sort of camaraderie they had is just kind of gone. They usually really love their vampirism, and they really take on this new identity. Well, with Umah, we see she still retains quite a bit of humanity left in her. Like when she is guiding a very wounded, malnourished Kane through the slums of the city, she tells him, oh, here I captured someone for you to drink their blood. He's just a thug. He's some murderer who thought he could rape me or something in a back alley, so you could drink his blood with impunity. Kane immediately cuts her off and says, spare me the moral lecture, just guide me to his throat. It shows the difference though. Umah really does consider who she feeds on. And we see this even more interestingly when Kane loses her, when she gets cut off from Kane by a Sarafan guard. Is that Umah does not kill relentlessly. She doesn't just butcher somebody despite having the power to 100% kill a guy. She prefers instead to either outrun them or give them a choice. Either follow me and die, or ignore what you saw and let me go by. Seems to be Umah's morality system put into play. She seems to hold life sacred. Even though that life is more or less her food source, she still holds it up with a sense of dignity. That yes, you are human, yes, I will kill you now and I will drink your blood, but I'm only going to do so because you committed a crime or because you tried to fight me and I gave you an option to run away. So she's a very just and moral person. This is why I would say she's very saintly. And this is very interesting indeed when we see Kane's empire with Raziel, Duma, Turel. Those lieutenants, like we even see with Raziel, they just view humans as cattle. They are very, very heartless individuals indeed. Umah, on the other hand, she really struck a chord with Kane and many other vampires because she was kind. She was kind to anybody and everybody. She was kind to them. She would offer them more than instructions. She would also teach them about the world, teach them how to survive, teach them new things. This made her a very awesome mentoring figure for anybody. And it became really interesting later on, Legacy of Kain, Blood Omen 2, when Kane started to become stronger than what he used to be. He was no longer regaining his strength. He was now gaining strength. He was now stronger than what he was previously. And now he's pretty much eclipsed Umah. This is where Umah changes her role, where now she's no longer mentoring him. She's more or less questioning him. And she's going, I heard from Vordor how you ran your army and how you would run a kingdom. So I'm kind of curious, do you see yourself at all very similar to the Sarafan Lord? And Kane gets very upset. Very, very, very upset. I mean, who wouldn't? Here's this bad guy known as the Sarafan Lord who is about to wipe out all life in the world to bring his race back to the top. And Umah just compared you to him. Umah literally just compared you to this demon, this monster. Yeah, anybody would be upset. But the reason why Kane's upset is not because he's being compared to a monster, but because he doesn't see the similarities. He truly does not see the similarities. Kane is striving to dominate humanity and put vampires at the top. The Sarafan Lord is seeking to destroy humanity and destroy the vampires and put the Hilden at the top. He doesn't see the similarity. He doesn't understand it. And later on when he's monologuing, he says that had Umah given him a chance, she would have found out the difference between the two. Now, I think that's a little bit of a wordplay scenario, a little bit of literature there, because dominating humanity and using them for blood farms versus destroying them, that seems pretty much more or less the same to me. But there was a human nation, at least like one secret human nation that did exist in the Soul Reaver era. So I do see where Kane's saying is that he would still give humanity a chance to live, but it wouldn't be a life of luxury, liberty, no. It would just be a life of death. And this is where Umah really comes into blows with him, is that she brings up her philosophy, her beliefs. She goes, and what happens to the Cabal? And he says, they will serve me. And she goes, what if they don't? Like, what if the vampires who are in the Cabal, which have been her family for the past 200 years, they are all opinionated. They all have their own personalities. What if they slightly disagree with you, Kane? What if they don't follow an order? Like, you tell them to massacre a village just because you're angry at how long the villagers held out against your will. Well, I don't want to kill a child. So what happens then? Are you going to kill me too? And Kane's answer is yes. He expects loyalty. He expects 100% fealty to his rule. It makes him very tyrannical. And this is where Umah snatches an amulet, the Nexus Stone, away from Kane and tries to destroy the Sarafan Lord by herself. Problem is, she gets really badly beaten up by a bunch of Sarafan guards. Like, she literally ran into like 4 of the bastards. And this is very unfortunate. But as she's laying there dying, Kane just simply asks her, like, do you truly see me as Nosgoth's ruler? And she goes, yeah, I could see it. You're so powerful. You deserve to rule Nosgoth. And he goes, good. At least now you can die knowing that the right ruler of Nosgoth is going to be me. And he kills her. Now, her death and her betrayal of Kane, he truly could not understand it. He thought he was being betrayed by Vorador. He thought he was being betrayed by the Seraphan Lord. He could not wrap his head around it. He figured, oh my god, she must have joined sides with somebody against me. But afterwards, when the game's over with, he does monologue about her where it seems like he comes to understand, no, she just truly didn't understand Kane. She really clung to her morals of just and being moral, and she couldn't find a difference between Kane and the Seraphan Lord. And Kane, being who he is, he doesn't believe in telling people his intentions. He usually believes more in showing people his intentions. And this is kind of an issue when you have someone who's taking you for your word and you're refusing to give them a word. It becomes very difficult indeed for them to trust you. But again, Kane is very arrogant. He expects people to believe him. He expects people to just take him as word because he's always been a honorable person, or he's always been a person who maintains his word. But again, it's hard to take that at face value when he's such a tyrannical person. He orders some really nasty shit to be done to people. So it's damn, that's a very unfortunate end to such a saint known as Umah. Something that's kind of interesting, though, is that the developers were going to put her in Legacy of Kain Defiance, but then they scrapped the idea. It's one of the pictures I have up here, is that it shows her in robes. It shows her as a priestess. I actually find that very interesting. The idea that she could have been a priestess at a church and Vorador just simply found her and took her. It would explain a bit why she has such connections to the bishop in the city of Meridian. Why she has connections in the church at all. It could be that the bishop was once an orphan or something that she took in when she was a human and helped raise, and then once she became a vampire, she still kept in touch with him. Who knows? They never go into detail about how Umah established this relationship, but knowing from what we have established, she is a very kind person. She is very just. She has no qualms about drinking blood and killing people, but she only does so to people who are deserving. And she's more than willing to help anybody out, no matter what. No matter if they're a vampire or human. So I do think it is more than probable that she does have a lot of church ties. I do find that very interesting, though, that she could have been a human saint, but instead she became a vampire saint. Besides that, this has been Freezer 700. I am out. I hope you guys have enjoyed Umah. And besides that, I hope you guys look forward to more Legacy of Kain content. I know I haven't done this in a while, but don't worry, we'll be touching more on it. See you guys next time.